the Giants have made it to the semi-finals. Congratulations to Real Madrid. Congratulations to Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, and Paris Saint-Germain. Those are the four teams that have made it to the semi-finals of UEFA Champions League this year. Okay, we saw how it happened yesterday. We saw Liverpool and also Real Madrid and Manchester City playing out a 1-1 draw in Etihad yesterday, and Real Madrid, coming up victors through penalty on that occasion. And we also saw Arsenal losing out to Bayern Munich in Allianz Arena. Once again, okay, it is football. It is the game of the Giants, UEFA Champions League. That is what it is. Okay, always, usually very, very much exciting to watch. But today we have a lot of games that's going on, and we do have games in Europa League as well as UEFA Conference League. Okay, and we know that a lot of big teams are going to come up today. We saw the likes of Liverpool, who lost out their very first a leg of this tie, losing by 3-0 to Atalanta. They'll be doing their best to try to reduce the deficit today in Italy, as well as we saw West Ham also losing out to Bayern Leverkusen on that occasion by 2-0, and it's expected Bayern Leverkusen is going to England to conclude the second leg, and it's going to be an exciting encounter, and we expect a lot of firecrackers on these matches. So we took our time to go into some of these games, and we came up with the very best verdict for these very encounters. And before we head on, we want to talk about yesterday's games. We saw 4 out of our 8 games that we predicted actually being very successful, and therefore not really living up to expectations. We saw Bayern Munich actually playing a 1-0 win against Arsenal. We expected a lot more goals in that occasion, but it didn't happen. And we also saw the likes of Molde losing out to Odds BK, very much unusual. But that being said, we will also go ahead because today we decided to prepare very much and do better on this very today's predictions. So not spending so much time before we head to the business of the day. I want to urge those of us who are coming across our video for the very first time, please take our time to click subscription button down there so that you do not miss out on our subsequent predictions that will be coming up on this very channel on a daily basis. Okay, you've done that. Thank you so much. So let's head to the business of the day. Today we're starting with the very first match in Europa League, where we have Atalanta who will be up against Liverpool. Okay, after seeing Atalanta defeat Liverpool in Anfield last week, and they've come back for the second leg of that very tie. And in this very encounter, we take a look at how both teams have fared in the past, and we see that in the past 20 for the home side Atalanta, and they have been able to manage 11 wins. They've had 5 draws as well as 4 losses, and their away side Liverpool in the past 20 have seen 13 wins, and they've had 3 draws as well as 4 losses also. And we take a look at how both teams have fared in the recent past, we could see that in the past 5 for the home side Atalanta, they've been able to win 2 games. They've had 1 draw and as well as 2 losses in the past 5 games they've had. And looking at Liverpool as well, they have seen 2 wins, 1 draw as well as 2 losses in the past 5 games. Okay, and the head-to-head also have seen Atalanta defeating Liverpool 2 times in a row. We saw Atalanta defeating Liverpool from away in 2020 as well as seeing them do the same thing, repeat the same fate last week. So it is going to be a very exciting encounter, and I believe that Liverpool is going to try to do their best to reduce the deficit of that very encounter. So we know that in this game is a very tough one, but we expect Liverpool, who have a lot of quality, to turn up in this very encounter. And our verdict for this very game, it is their away side Liverpool FC to win outrightly. That's our verdict, and that takes us to the next game. And the next game is West Ham, also in Europa League. West Ham and Bayern Leverkusen, and we saw that in the first leg of this very encounter, we saw Bayern Leverkusen defeating West Ham in Germany by 2-0. And on that occasion, we saw Boniface also scoring on that very occasion. And this time around, the German side are coming to England to conclude the second leg of this very encounter. And we know that it's going to be a very, very exciting game. And we Also, as usual, take a look at how both sides have fared in the past 20. We could see that the home side in the past 20, West Ham have managed 5 wins, as well as 7 draws and 8 losses in the past 20 games of played so far. And the away side, Bayern Leverkusen, have seen 18 wins and 2 draws in the last 20 games they played, and they have actually not lost any match yet throughout this season. And it's a very wonderful side. We also saw them, claiming the Bundesliga title, last week. So kudos to them. They're very a good side, and they're doing very, very, very well this time around. And when we go to the last 5 games of both sides, we see that the home side, West Ham, have had just 1 win in the past 5 games, and they have had 3 losses as well as 1 draw. But Bayern Leverkusen, on the other hand, have actually won the entire 5 matches they have played in the past 5. So it is Bayern Leverkusen who is doing so well, and we also see that the head-to-head encounter for both sides have seen Bayern Leverkusen, defeating West Ham in the past 2 head-to-head occasions. Okay, we saw Bayern Leverkusen defeating West Ham in 2023, as well as last week, defeating them by 2-0. In this very game, we expect a lot of goals flying in this very encounter. We expect to see at least 3 goals in this very encounter. It is over 2.5. That's our value for that very encounter, and that takes us to the next game. And the next game is also in Europa Conference League, where we have Europa League actually, where we have Marseille coming up against Benfica. Okay, and in this very encounter, we'll take a look at how both teams have fared in the past. We'll see that in the past 20 for the home side, Marseille, they've had 7 wins as well as 6 draws and 7 losses. And the away side, on the other hand, have seen 12 wins, 5 draws, and 3 losses. Away side, Benfica, have had 12 wins in the past 20. And when we take a look at how both teams have fared in the last 5, we'll see that Marseille, in their last 5 games, have seen them losing the entire game. Okay, they have lost the entire 5 games they've played, including the first leg of this very encounter, where they lost out to Benfica by 2-1. And Benfica, on the other hand, in the past 5, have seen 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw in the past 5 games they've had. And okay, putting all that together, we expect a very tight encounter in this very one, and our verdict for this very game is both sides to score. We expect to see both sides scoring in this very encounter. Go. That's our verdict for this very game, and that takes us to the next game. Also, okay, the next game is in UEFA Conference League, where we have Lille will be coming up against Aston Villa, and we could take a look at how they fared. You see that in the past 20 for the home side, Lille, they've had 10 wins as well as 5 draws and 5 losses, and their away side, Aston Villa, as well have had 10 wins, 5 losses, and 5 draws in the past 20 games they've had. And when you take a look at how both teams have fared in the recent past, we could see that in the past 5 for the home side, Lille have managed 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss, and their away side, Aston Villa, have had 3 wins and 1 draw and 1 loss. Also, also the winning they had during the weekend against the Arsenal is a very significant one. It shows that it is a team that is in very, very fine form at the moment. Also, what you have noticed the fact that in the first leg of this very encounter saw Aston Villa defeating Lille by 2-1, and this time around Aston Villa will be traveling to France to conclude the second leg of this very tie, and we expect at least 2 goals coming up in this very encounter, at least over 1.5. That's our verdict for that very encounter, and that takes us to the next game. And the next game is in UEFA Conference League, where we'll have Salonika of Greece will be coming up against Club Brugge. Okay, and we'll take a look at how both teams have fared in the past 20. In the past 20, I've seen Salonika winning 13 out of 20, and they've also had 2 draws as well as 5 losses in the past 20 games they've played. And that way side, Club Brugge have been able to manage 11 wins out of 20. They've had 4 draws as well as 5 losses in the past 20 games they've played. And when you take a look at how both sides have fared in the recent past, you can see that in the past 5 for the home side, Salonika have managed 3 wins as well as 1 loss and 1 draw. And we also Club Brugge also have had 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And what you've noticed is the fact that the first leg of this very encounter saw Club Brugge defeating Salonika in Belgium by 1-0. And in this very encounter, we know that Salonika is a team who is doing very well, especially when they are playing from home. And in this very encounter, our verdict is the home side is expected to pick up the spots in this very game. It is 1 win. That's our verdict for this very encounter. And that takes us to the very next game of the day, also in UEFA Conference League, where we'll have Fenerbahce, who will be coming up against Olympiacos in the second leg of this tie. We could see that in the past 20 for the home side. You could see that the Betkraft have had 15 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. And the away side, Olympiacos have been able to manage 14 wins as well as 2 draws and 4 losses in the past 20 games of head. When you take a look at the recent encounters, you could see that in the past 5, the home side Fenerbahce have had 3 wins as well as 2 losses in the past 5 encounters. Also, one of those losses coming against Olympiacos in the first leg of this very tie. And Wayside Olympiacos have been able to win 4 games and they've had just 1 loss in the past 5 games of hair. So in this very encounter, you can as well see that Olympiacos has been very, very dominant in the head-to-head proceedings. We'll see that Olympiacos have won this tie in the past 3 occasions. And this very occasion, we expect at least a minimum of 2 goals appearing in this very game. It is an over 1.5. That's our verdict for this very game. Over 1.5. Okay, that takes us to the next game, and the next game happened to be in Denmark Division 1, where Sonjiskai will be coming up against Vendizal in Denmark Division 1 game, and we took a look at how both teams have fared. You could see that in the past 5 for the home side, Sonjiskai have managed 14 wins as well as 1 draw and 5 losses, and the away side have seen 10 wins, 6 draws, and 4 losses in the past 20 games of head so far. And when you take a look at how they're fared, for in the past 5, you will see that Sonjiskai in the past 5 have managed 4 wins and they've had just 1 loss, which came against the Aalborg in the Division 1 game, and our side have managed just 3 draws and 2 losses. They've not been able to win any in the past 5 games of Fed that played so far, and that is to say that they are not a team in fine form at the moment. And indeed, putting all that together, we know that the home side is expected to pick up the sports in this very game. So just try to win outrightly. That's our verdict in this very encounter, and that takes us to the very next game. And the next game is in Latvia, where we have Grobina, who will be coming up against Liepaja in Latvian League. And we'll take a look at how both sides have fared. We'll see that for the home side, in the past 10 home games are played, they've been able to achieve 7 wins out of 10 home games are played so far. They also had 1 loss and 2 draws, the home side, and the away side in the past 10 away games are played, they have actually been able to manage just 2 wins and they've had 1 draw as well as 7 losses playing from away. It goes to show that when they're playing away, they're not doing so very well away. And also bringing all that together, the past head-to-head of this encounter also saw Grobina defeating this side by 2-1. And when we put all of that together, we know that the home side is a very good side, especially when they're playing from home, and we expect them to pick up the sports outright in this very game. It is home win. That's our verdict for this very encounter, and that takes us to the last game of the day, and it all is in Iran. Iran League, where we have Goha will be coming up against Estagal Uzbekistan in Iran. We could see that the home side in the past 10 home games have managed 5 wins, as well as they've also had 3 draws as well as 2 losses in the past 10 home games I've had so far. And the away side, looking at the past 10 away games I've played, they've had just 1 win and they've had 3 draws and as well as 6 losses while playing from away. It also goes to show that playing from away, the away side have not been doing so well, especially when they're playing from away. So it is the home side who is much more fancy to pick up the sports in this very game, and we expect the home side to win outright in this game. Home win. That's our verdict for that very game, and that brings our predictions and tips for you on Betkraft today to a conclusion. And I wish you the very best of luck. And I want to also remind you to remember to also play responsibly. Do not put your entire fortune in bet. It is a football game, and it can go either way, and it can happen. So some can decide to pick up a red card and then spoil the entire encounter. Okay. All right. That being said, tomorrow is another day, and we're going to have a lot of games coming up tomorrow. And on that note, we conclude and we say keep winning.